Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to all of you. Welcome to another podcast of Life Lessons. Glad that you're with me again this week. I'm out on the bike, as you can tell. It's a cold day. And again, I'm checking out my heated jacket here. It's doing okay. I'm still feeling the cold though. But it's doing okay. It's doing its job. It's keeping me a little warm. I'm in the middle of a series, three-part series on Christmas, and thinking about the things of Christmas. Last week we looked at a number of passages that told the narrative of Christmas, the events that surrounded that, with the shepherds, the Annunciation to Mary and to Joseph, all that was going on there. Today I want to zero in on the wise men, sometimes called the Magi. These guys were rulers in their respective countries. They came from a long way away. They had been told, they were very educated men, so they had been told about this supposed king who would be born in a little town, and they were to follow the North Star. They were to follow the star, and they would know where it was at when the star rested over the town. We know that it was Bethlehem. That's where they ended up. But there's more, I think, to the we know the narrative, right? These guys journeyed from a long way away. They brought gifts. We know that story. But I want to zero in on what I think is some meaning. You've heard me say before that the Bible has a lot to say to you and I about the current situation that we are in, right? The current, living our lives currently. It's not just for those who lived a long time ago, but it's for us today. And what I seek to do in Life Lesson, these podcasts, is I want to bring Scripture into real life, right? So it's not just words that we read on a piece of paper, or in a book rather, but it has meaning for us. And that's the way it is with the journey of these kings. So they came to Jerusalem first, and it was protocol, so they came and paid homage to Herod the king. And they told, he asked them what they were doing, and they told him they were seeking a king, one that was born king of the Jews. Now, Herod was a true politician, man. He could get things done. He knew how to manipulate people, but he was also very, very cruel. And so, not long after these wise men told Herod, they left him, and then he started plotting to find out where this king was, because they didn't tell him where the king was. So what did he do? He decided to kill all the children 2 years and below. 2 years and below. Now, can you imagine that? Well, maybe you can, because we're kind of doing that today, right? We're killing babies before they're even born. Herod was like that. He was very, very paranoid, and he didn't want any competition for his kingdom. So these three wise men, they received a message from an angel and told them, they need to get going because Herod is doing this. So I want to zero in on that story, okay? First of all, I think the wise men's story, we're going to make a turn here and go a different way. The wise men's story tells about, and I think shows us, the importance of seeking truth and wisdom. Okay? Seeking truth and wisdom. These three wise men, they were on a quest to find a newborn king. They were searching. You know, a lot of people, and maybe you're one of them, maybe you're searching for something. You know, you've spent maybe 2024 and you've been searching for all kinds of things. You know, you've just been searching. And you've not been able to find the answer. Well, they were seeking truth. These men were highly knowledgeable, highly educated individuals, but they didn't let that stop them. They didn't let that stop them. They're searching. What's the word I want to use here? They're searching transcended. That's a word. Transcended geographical and cultural boundaries. I mean, these were men from far off countries, different cultures, all of them, different cultures, and they were traveling into a Jewish culture. Now, what does that say to you and me? That God transcends, seeking God transcends any culture and any geographical boundary. Okay? There's no one. The Bible says that God would that none should perish, but all would come to repentance. Okay? Now, I want you to think about that word none. None is a big word, right? So these guys were coming from a far off land. They were seeking, and it may have been at the base, they were seeking more knowledge, and that's okay. When they got to the manger there in Bethlehem, the stable, things changed. And remember, and I mentioned this a little bit last week, I'll mention it in a minute here, but they brought some things with them. They brought gifts with them, okay? So they were seeking truth. Now, we live in a culture, and you've heard me say this before, but I'll say it again here in this context. We live in a culture where we have, what's the word I want to use here? Many truths, right? There's your truth, my truth, their truth, everybody's truth. Everybody's truth is different. No. You've heard me say many times, there's only one truth. All truth is God's truth. These were learned men, and they were seeking the truth. Jesus says of himself, I am the way, the truth, not a truth, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except by me. Okay? They were seeking truth, and they were seeking wisdom. You know, it's been often said that, and I don't know how true it is, but you know, it's been said that the older you get, the wiser you get. Why is that? I think there's some truth to that. But why is that? Well, it's because of experience, right? So wisdom is the combination of knowledge and experience. They had been they were very learned men. And they were trying to find out what this angel was saying. Is it really true? So they were searching. What are you searching for? You searching for wealth? No. You searching for gratitude? No. What are you searching for? What to you is truth? Okay? So they were seeking truth and wisdom. Number two, there's a recognition here in this story. There's a recognition of, well, let me just call it the divine. Okay? The three kings recognize that the divine significance of this little baby Jesus. And their journey symbolized, I think, a universal acknowledgement of Christ's superiority, spiritual superiority. Paul says up in Philippians, he says, there will be a day when every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. There's not many gods, you know. The ancient people, particularly Rome, Athens, you know, they had many gods. They were what's referred to as polytheistic. Polytheistic. They had many gods. In fact, Paul in Acts, Paul is visiting Greece, visiting Athens, and he's walking up and down the streets, and they have all these temples and statues to their various gods, but they had one just to cover their bases. They had one statue to an unknown god, and they titled it the Unknown God. And Paul asked them, what's going on here? What is the unknown God? And they told him, we're just basically, and this is my own vernacular here, we're just covering our bases, right? He says, well, let me tell you about this unknown God. Let me make this unknown God known to you. Okay? I love that. So there will be a day that those who deny Him, deny the existence of God, there's going to be an awakening. There's going to be a reckoning. So let me put it that way. Every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. So there's the recognition of the divine. Third, as we think about this, the wise men and their journey, I think it teaches us to offer the best of ourselves. The wise men brought precious gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. We talked about that a little bit last week. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gold for a king. They recognized him as king. Frankincense, they recognized him as priest. And myrrh, used in the for the dead. So they recognized that he was going to be the sacrificial lamb. So what does that teach you and I? Okay, in 2024 going into 2025, that we ought to offer our best to Him. We ought to offer our best to Him. No matter what it is, we ought to offer not second best, not third best, not the leftovers, but we ought to offer the best. I'm on a road here that I've not been on, so I don't know which way to go. Let's go right. See, I'm on a journey myself. I've never been on this road before. I don't know where it's going to take me, but we'll stay on it. So we're talking about the three wise men, and what it teaches us, not only to seek truth and wisdom, right, the truth, but to recognize that, think about this. Just think about the fact of your own body. Let's just go with that for a second. How complex your body and mine is. To see, to hear, to smell, our heartbeat, the function of our different organs, internal organs. What an amazing kind of thing. What an amazing kind of thing. So Christmas is not just about Christmas trees and giving and receiving gifts, although that's fine and I take nothing away from that. It is about recognizing that God sent a special gift to us. So we ought to offer back to Him. We ought to offer Him our best, not the leftovers, right? I don't know about you and your home, but sometimes my wife and I, we'll eat leftovers so the food doesn't go to waste. I have no idea where I'm at here. Tea Lakes. Okay. Giving our best to Him. All of us, I want you to hear this now, all of us have been blessed with certain gifts. Your gift is different than my gift. Okay? Whatever that gift is, That's the gift that you and I ought to give to Him. Okay? If you don't know what that gift is, then that's something to seek and search for, right? To find out what that gift is, and then use that gift. I've said this before. I love that God has allowed my wife and I to have this motorcycle. Although she would not ride in this kind of weather on her life. She would not ride. She doesn't ride unless it's like 70 degrees and above. But God, so I want to use this motorcycle. I love riding a motorcycle, so I want to use this, and I love teaching. So I'm using, the gift that God has given me for teaching, but also the gift that He's given me in this motorcycle. Now, some of you may not look at that as a gift. I do. How this came about, you've heard me tell that story before, so I won't tell it again. But it's just an amazing story how it all came about. And so I wanted to. That's one of the reasons I told you earlier about this jacket. That's one of the reasons why I purchased this jacket, this heated jacket, is so I can extend the riding season. Now there will probably come a time, in late January, February, where it'll be way too cold, or there'll be snow or ice on the ground, on the road or whatever, and I won't be able to ride. And then I've got the studio. So whether it's in the studio or on the bike, I do life lessons. But the key here is to offer God our best. They brought the best, and so we bring our best to Him in honor of Him. These three men, sometimes called the Magi, sometimes called the wise men, or three kings. They were rulers. Okay, they were of high status in their respective countries. And here, in a little town called Bethlehem, in a manger, they bowed before the king. So they not only brought their gifts, but they brought themselves to Him. And it's easy to give, give gifts. It's easy to give that. It's easy to give money. It's easy, to charities or whatever. But what about giving of yourself? What is it that you can give? I have been blessed over the years to be able to work with very gifted people. When I was a therapist on the psych unit, particularly in Rolla, I got to work with some very, very gifted people there. Whether they knew it or not, they were using their God-given gifts. Yeah, they were trained and all that stuff, and they had knowledge and all that, wisdom, experience, but they were using the gift that God had given them in helping other people during crisis times of their life. So those three things now, remember, when you think about the story of the wise men, and maybe some of you will go to church on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, Christmas night, whatever, whenever you go, and there'll be Christmas cantatas, there'll be Christmas plays, starting in December. The closer we get to Christmas, what are we now, maybe 2 weeks out, something like that. And so there's Christmas pageants. Some will be very simple, some will be very elaborate. But it's giving of that talent, that gift. It's giving of yourself back to Him. So I want to leave you with this thought today. Well, two thoughts actually. Number one, what are you seeking? What are you seeking? Are you seeking fame? Are you seeking position? Are you seeking power? Seeking money? What are you seeking? And I guess secondary to that, have you found it? And if you haven't found it, maybe you need to question whether what you're seeking is the right thing. Number two, you and I are on a journey. We're all on a journey. Your journey is different than mine, but we're all on a journey. What does that journey look like for you? The three wise men, they were guided by a star. What's guiding you? What is, are you distracted by a lot of things? Maybe you've been distracted by a lot of things over the last year. And now is the time, and I'm not a big proponent of New Year's resolutions. I don't make New Year's resolutions. But maybe this is the time, as we're drawing close to the new year, that you can resolve, if you will, to have a closer relationship with God. And by having a closer relationship with God, you can have a closer relationship with the important people in your life. When you gather with your family and your friends and you're watching either on TV or the Christmas movies on TV, or going to a church Christmas cantata or pageant, I want you to think about these wise men and their experience of seeking truth and wisdom, recognizing that God is indeed God and there is none like Him. And then third, giving the best of yourself to Him. Not just your money, but the best of you. Not the leftovers, but the best of you. Okay? So that's the second in our series on Christmas. I thank you for riding along with me on this very cold day. I'm going to try riding as much as I can until it gets so cold that I just can't. But I want to thank you for joining me, not only for this ride, but joining me in another life lesson, in particular this special series on Christmas. God bless you. Thank you. Have a good day. Have a good week. And we'll see you next time right here, either on the motorcycle or in my studio. God bless you. Have a good one.